And good morning and welcome to another edition of Telling It Like It Is. My name's Ralph Williams and I'm bringing up my co-host right now, Leo Haggerty. Leo, welcome to the program from Amped Up Sports.
Hey, Ralph. Nice day down here in Tampa. We're going to get in the mid 80s. A little warm for football, but we'll take it.
Yeah, we got fog and rain up here, 50 degrees around game time for Pitt versus Louisville. Hey, I got something for you. There were these two guys, right? Leo, they were in Louisville. Okay, they're sitting at a Burger King. All right. And they're fighting back and forth about whether it's Louisville or Louisville. So they see the clerk from Burger King. He's picking up trays, wiping down tables, and he says, "Excuse me, can you tell me where we are?" And he goes, "Yeah, you're at Burger King."
Oh, that's a classic. Yeah, where are we? Burger King. Yep, that's good.
Ah,
Uh-huh.
I tell that Louisville joke every time Pitt plays Louisville, or the Riverhounds play Louisville too. So
Yes.
but
Yep.
anyway, let's get started here. Looks like World War III might be happening. We got Hamas versus taking on Israel. Israel starting to get their troops ready to go in for a ground war, and the U.S. has shipped some weapons to them. And we're shipping weapons all over the place, Leo. It seems like everybody calls us and says they need weapons. We send them out. What do you think?
Well, the problem right now, Ralph, is can't do much of anything without a Speaker of the House because all the money stuff, all appropriations bills must start in the House of Representatives. And right now, they got no way of doing that. So the first thing that needs to happen is the Republicans need to get their act together and name a Speaker of the House. And if they can't do it, then walk away and let somebody else. But until then, nothing's going to happen, which is really a shame because I'm saying this, Ralph. If these guys can't get it done, you know what? Vote them all out. Get somebody else in there
Yeah.
that can, because your job is to govern, the Democrat, Republican, whatever. Right now it's a stalemate, it's a standstill, and it's terrible because you got the Ukraine, you got Israel, now you got some things happening, and we can't govern to help anybody.
All right, we're in the First Line Consulting Services Studios, 1-877-926-6982. Give one First Line Consulting Services Studios a call today. The number again, 1-877-926-6982. Also, I want to talk about a band called Bon Journey, who is a cover band who plays Bon Jovi and Journey music. They will be performing next Saturday, October 21st, at the Oaks Theater in Oakmont. So head on out there. They start at around 8 o'clock, and they have an opening band, which starts at 7. So head on out to the Oaks Theater. Call the Oaks Theater today in Oakmont and get your tickets for Bon Journey. I got to tell you, this band, they just came back from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. They were at some kind of a bar or club down there. They just played. So if they're playing down there, you can see them here. So go out and check out Bon Journey. All right, Leo, let's get back to this. You're right about the Republicans, but supposedly today or sometime Monday, they're supposed to have somebody put in a Jim Jordan from Ohio. This is the guy Trump wants in case he gets reelected president. I'm not sure what's going to happen with that election yet. We're still at a stalemate here to find out who's going to do what. The Republicans have no clue, and the Democrats, the only person they got out there is Biden right now. Maybe a couple other guys in the silent hole that you don't know about. You think this presidential race, do you think Trump will get reelected even though he's got a criminal problem?
Well, I'll tell you what, Ralph, if he does, that'd be a problem. That would be a huge, huge problem. I'll tell you what, the they got to get some new blood in there on both sides of the aisle. I
Yeah.
mean, you
We've
got
talked about this many times. Yes.
yeah. The
Yeah.
problem is, Ralph, who's stepping up? I don't see
Yeah.
anybody stepping up, and that's amazing. You should have. This is like a football game. You got to have depth. There's
Yeah.
no depth in
There's
political
no
parties
depth in
right
our
now.
government. No,
And here's the
none at all.
problem with the Republicans, they're all scared of Trump. Nobody wants to step up. They're all scared of him. It's like, let me go kiss his ring and go from there, especially if Jim Jordan gets the Speaker of the House, because that's who Trump wants.
Right.
So we're going to see what happens with these other Republicans to see if they have enough umpapa to stand up to Trump and say, no, we're not putting in Jim Jordan. We're not putting in that. We're going to put in our person, whoever we want, not whoever you want. And
It's
that's what's going to be crazy.
it seems like, Leo, we have these Republicans that are just simply listening to Trump, and that's it. They don't care about nothing else. They need to think for themselves instead of worrying about what he's doing. Because right now, I mean, as much as I told you, if there were to be an election today, if he wasn't involved in these court battles, I'd vote for him because everything he says and he has said has gone down. I mean, look at the border wall, but Biden finally stepped up and is going to do something now because all these cities complaining, hey, I got something for you about the illegal immigrants. Listen to this. There was a family in town here in one of our outskirt malls who decided to go on a theft rampage and to steal out of Ulta stores. Ulta's a female beauty store. It's very expensive. All right. And they were stealing out of Ulta stores. They had their kid doing it for them. This is the reason why you need to build a wall down there, because they were illegal immigrants that were here stealing out of some of our suburb malls here in this area.
Well, there should be no such thing as an illegal immigrant. And
Right.
again, you got to come through. And somebody's got to stand there and say, no, you can't make it. You can't do it. And again, Ralph, we sat through what was called the Mariel boat lift down here, when basically Castro said, okay, we'll send you people. You know what he did? He emptied the jails. He sent all people in jail. Welcome to
Right.
Florida. And you know what? All we had to do, we had to put those guys in jail. So yeah, uh, I I don't sympathize with these northern governors and northern mayors who all of a sudden say, "Oh my God, we've been dealing with this for years down here in Florida and Texas and
In
Arizona
Arizona,
and
New Mexico, and
California.
all that. Yeah.
We've been dealing with all of that. Just
Right.
welcome to our world, and now you're seeing what it is. So it's just kind of crazy. So yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah, I wanted to tell that story today because here's a classic example, just like I keep talking about the progressive Democrats. Okay. What they're doing, they're ruining this country. They're ruining our city. They're ruining our county, and they're ruining our state. We just lost a hydrogen pipeline contract from the federal government. From Joe Biden awarded it to West Virginia because somebody up here didn't get their act together, or didn't want it, or didn't. Here it's creating 17,000 jobs now in West Virginia. 17,000 jobs it's going to create. So, and this morning, to get the egg off their face, the state announced that about how happy they are that he gave it to West Virginia because some of the residual is supposed to be coming to Pennsylvania. Now, I guess that's residual of companies here that are going to be needed to help with that and things like that. So that's what they were talking about this morning. But our government here has got egg on their face for that. So I've been talking about the progressive government. Mike says, "Good morning, guys." Good morning, Mike. Steady watcher to the programs here
Yeah.
with
Hey, Ralph,
RW
you know
Media.
what? You know what second place is when it comes to that stuff? It's the first loser.
It's
And
the
that's,
first loser, right?
you're the first loser. And
Yeah,
guess what? If you're not number one, you're the first loser, the second loser, the third, call it what you like. But that may get Joe Manchin back on the reservation now that it's going to West
yeah,
Virginia. And
yeah,
you know what, Ralph? Whenever you see something happening now, you got to look at it from a political standpoint too. It's good, bad, indifferent, whatever. that's just the way it is right now. It's the way of the world, as Earth, Wind, and
Yeah,
Fire used to say. It's just the way of the world.
yeah,
What could you do for me? And I used to put this out for my students. What's the minimum amount of states you need to win the electoral college? And you know what that is, Ralph? Of the 50, if you win the right 15, that
yeah,
wins the electoral college. If you get all the 15 largest states, that's all you
yeah.
need.
Texas, Pennsylvania, California, some of
Ohio,
those
New
states.
Jersey,
Idaho,
yep,
yeah,
yep, yep,
yeah,
yep, yep. Yeah, Florida.
yeah.
You get 15 biggest. The other 35, guess what? You're short end of the stick. And people are saying, they got to get rid of the electoral college. They got to get rid of uh, the House or the Senate having only two people from each. If you go back in history and you look at what's going on, you couldn't have sold that. The only way you could have sold
Right.
that to the smaller states was to have a representative body that had equal representation. If not, you were going to have to redraw the borders, everybody, and make it so close that everybody had the same amount. So, yeah, the fact that people are coming and say, "Oh, the Senate's not," wake up, smell the coffee, look at what's going on. It's not going to change.
This morning, I'm here today to talk to you about Draft 412. Draft 412 is an e-draft magazine. They also have a website, draft412.com. What they do is they break down all of the skinny on all kinds of players through all kinds of drafts, whether it be the NBA, the NHL, Major League Baseball, or any kind of football, college, or NFL. They break everything down. They have several podcasts that you can watch. Also, subscribe to their e-magazine, $9 a month, right into your inbox, and you will get all this information. And I got to tell you, it's great information. And they're also the sponsor of this program and many other RW Media shows, draft412.com. All right, Leo, let's get into some sports talk here because I'm tired of some of this other stuff. So, Colorado last night blew it by 2 points. They were up 29-6 when I saw it last against Stanford, and they lost by two. You should see the look on Deion Sanders' face. He looks like somebody shot his dog. What do you think of that matchup last night?
Well, yeah, and it went two overtimes, Ralph. And
Yeah,
I got to go to last week with USC in Arizona. That goes three overtimes. I think the NCAA is missing the boat on this. They're saying, okay, we're going to go from the 25-yard line, the first overtime, second overtime. Then we're going to go from the 3-yard line until somebody gets a winner. Go from the 25 to first and second. You don't want to get to the third overtime, back it up to the 50. Now you don't have an automatic field goal. You got to get a couple
automatic
first
points.
downs.
Yeah.
Right. You don't have automatic points from the 3-yard line. You got to do so. I guarantee you won't get to a fourth overtime. Somebody will win it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it's crazy. Some of the things college football has set up, and especially that. That is really awful. They don't do like the NFL. You know how's the NFL do it? The first one that scores is done, and only have one overtime. You
Yeah.
tie, and that's it. You're done with
Yeah.
one overtime.
Yeah.
So
In the NFL, it's nice that if you kick a field goal, the other team still gets the ball. You know, if they score a touchdown, you're not getting the football. Okay, fine. I get that. But you know what, Ralph, when you look at what's happening now with college football, it's all about the offense. It's everybody scoring points, and they're scoring it
yeah,
in droves. I mean, look at the game last week. Alabama, Birmingham, South Florida, 58-35. I mean, there's no such thing as defense coming in anymore, and that's because of the rules. You have the wide hash marks, which allows people to play that 3-by-1, and they put those three receivers to the field, and they just spread you out all over the place, and there's holes everywhere. And the 3-yard ruling for linemen, they can go 3 yards down the field, they can still pass the ball. That makes those RPOs really, really effective. So yeah, it's. I think colleges need to do a little more looking into what they're doing there.
yeah. I don't think anybody cares at this point. The NIL starting or doing its thing, and then it's a runaway freight train that I don't think they can stop at this point with the
Oh no,
NCAA.
that genie's out of the bottle. You're exactly
Yeah.
right. But I don't know if you saw one of my posts this week, Ralph.
I
I'm
did.
shouting at the Big Ten. You need to get Washington State and Oregon State into the Big Ten, because what that does is it sets you up with a perfect 20-team conference. You've got uh, 20 teams for football, no conference. The best two teams get in. Now you can play Michigan, Ohio State. You can do everything you want to, because there's no East and West, North and South. Legends, whatever they were doing. Now you got that, but for everything else, you've got two 10-team conferences. You got the six. You'd have the six teams on the West Coast. You'd have Nebraska, Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota. Then you would have the rest of the Big Ten and the three teams on the East Coast: Penn State, Maryland, and Rutgers. That cuts down travel exponentially. Just a crazy amount of time that they'd spend. Think about this: if you got to be Rutgers and you got to go out and play USC and UCLA on a weekend, that's 7,000 miles in an airplane. Tell
Yeah.
me how conducive that is. Not real, is it?
No. Hey, Pitt's got to go out next year if we get Stanford and Cal
Right.
in the ACC.
Yep.
So that might happen. And then this week, the Big Ten has reached out to Pitt for an expansion. So we'll see if Pitt does it. I would like to see that so we could play Penn State every year. That would be nice. I mean, to
Well,
see that as
and
well.
I think we're also hearing that Clemson and Florida State is being courted by the SEC. I, I I don't think that's happening, only because uh, Florida State's only been relevant for the past year or two, not even a year or two, just this year
Yeah,
in
Mike
football.
Norvell had a mess when they
Yeah,
signed Willie when they hired Willie Taggart and some of these other guys. It just didn't work out. Jimbo Fisher wasn't really even that good. I mean, he was okay, but he wasn't that good. Nobody could pick up after Bowden. That's like up in Penn State. They're saying that James Franklin hasn't really picked up after Paterno. They haven't been to a national championship in his tenure, and so we'll find out where that goes. Clemson, who knows with
I
Clemson,
yeah, I don't
you know.
I don't see, and the problem with the ACC is they have this basketball mentality. We're a basketball conference. Guess what, guys? Football pays the bills. You better wake up
Yeah,
and smell the Benjamins real quick,
yeah.
because football is what is the lifeblood of everybody else. And
Well,
I
they're doing
love
the
these
same
guys.
thing like the Big East. The Big East did that when they were a conference. They were more emphasized on basketball than football, and look what happened to the Big East.
Yeah, yeah. And I'll tell you what, when you're looking at football, everybody comes out and they say, okay, there's only like 19 schools in the country that their budget is in the plus, and everything like that. I said, no, no, no. You're taking all the sports in. If you just look at football, football's making money everywhere in that Power Five. They're making money hand over fist, and that's no other way around it. But that's the way it's going. That uh, you got to get into that Power Five conference. USF, they're talking about maybe going to the ACC. And again, I, if I'm USF, I'm trying to get into one of those Power Four
They're in the
conferences.
AAC, right? They're still in that
AAC.
conference.
Yep.
Yeah, the
Yep.
American Athletic Conference.
Yeah.
That's dwindled down too, because I know Cincinnati went to the Big 12, and
Yeah.
a few other
Cincinnati,
teams.
Central Florida went.
Yeah,
Houston went. So yeah, they had four of them go.
yeah, and then Connecticut just joined them. So they were an independent. They just joined them. So yeah, we'll find out what happens. I don't think you're going to see the MAC conference and the AAC too much longer. I think those two conferences, people are going to have to split off and go into three or four power conferences in order to make things work.
Well, the problem is, Ralph. There's only, I see 20 or maybe 24, but I don't see conferences going over 20, and they're getting
Yeah,
close to that number right now. And
right.
it's tough sledding. It's a tough call right now, because you may want to get in, but they may not want you in.
Yeah, that's
Tampa's
true.
sitting in a great spot because it's the 13th largest TV market, Tampa St. Pete. That's why
Right.
SMU went to the ACC. It's the
Yeah.
fifth largest market
I
with
forgot
the,
about SMU too. I
yeah,
forgot about them. Yeah.
yeah. And in fact, SMU left and they told the ACC, look, we didn't even want to share the money for 10 years. Well, oh, wow, they're losing money. Well, they're only losing 5 million a year. So the
Yeah.
first year, year 11, the first year of the ACC, they'll make up that 5. They make up that 50 million plus
In
another
an
at
instant.
least 10 or
Yeah.
20 quickly.
Yeah.
So here's my thing, Ralph. When is that golden goose going to stop laying eggs?
Yeah.
Because the TV, that revenue, that rights fees, there's going to be. I cannot believe that Fox and ESPN and all that don't get together and collude and say, "Hey, look, you take the Big Ten, we'll take the SEC. You take the ACC. You take the Big 12, and here's all the money we're going to offer." Uh, and
Right.
and then all of a sudden, the NCAA is left holding the bag. I'm waiting for that to happen because this golden goose isn't just going to lay eggs all the time.
Yeah. I would like to see Pitt in the Big Ten because I think recruiting would be better. But the problem with Pitt is they have to get the attendance up. They have to start selling out games. They have to start. Uh, they're so bad off right now. They're starting to sell tickets for $25 for tickets now. That's how bad off they are.
Yeah,
They
well,
can't seem to draw very well.
hey, you know what's funny about that, Ralph? And I always told people that 100% of nothing is better than 50% of something. So
Yeah.
if you're selling tickets for $25 and you're getting 50,000, great.
Yeah.
Now if you move it up to $75 and you're only getting 20,000, okay, do the math. I tell my readers, I tell my listeners always, do the math. See what makes sense. See what happens. Because the bottom line is once you get them inside the stadium, they're going to spend money. And that's
Oh
where you
yeah.
want them.
Yeah.
That's where you want them.
Yeah. Souvenirs, refreshments. They're going to spend money parking.
Parking, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Absolutely. Let me talk to you this morning about Sleep Pittsburgh. If you haven't been getting any good sleep lately, folks, you need to go to Sleep Pittsburgh in Homestead, right on 8th Avenue. I tell you what, they have mattresses, beds, they have bunk beds, day beds, they have futons which you can turn into a bed. Anything connected with sleep, you need to go see Sleep Pittsburgh. 412-462-7858. I passed by there this a few days ago. I spoke with them there. They're very nice people. And I got to tell you, if you need any no credit check financing, call them today, 412-462-7858. Check their website, sleeppittsburgh.com. Sleep Pittsburgh for the best sleep tonight. All right. Uh, Leo, let's talk about these baseball playoffs. Well, one of my teams that I predicted is done, and that's Atlanta. I was on a couple shows this week, and I was asked. In fact, Wednesday I was on a radio show on the same station mine is on called Hey Peanuts. We do cross promotion, so I was on their show. They asked me to pick who I wanted for the World Series. I said Atlanta and Texas, and it turns out Atlanta ended up losing, but I think Texas still might make it. What do you think?
Oh yeah. I mean, think about this. The AL East, Toronto, Tampa Bay, Baltimore, 0-7 in the playoffs. 0 and
Yeah,
7. Ralph, I'll take it a step further. The Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. The Dodgers in the 27 innings that was played, they never had the lead. They were behind in 25 of those 27 innings. Arizona scored 6 runs in the first game in the first inning. They scored 3 runs in the first inning of the second game, and then they scored in the third inning of that third game. And I don't know if you saw this, but this is phenomenal. Clayton Kershaw couldn't get an out. Couldn't get an out.
yeah.
Gave up six
I
runs.
didn't see it, but I heard about it. Yeah.
His ERA, if he'd have went to game 4, was 142. I've
Wow.
never seen that. But I like Texas. Ralph, I wouldn't be one to play in the Philadelphia Phillies right now. I mean, they
No,
are just
I Believe me, I
They're
was
in
shocked when
fuego.
I saw that. I thought Atlanta was gonna clean their clock. I really did, and then they end up losing. And the Dodgers once again. And I said this many times to Mark Mancini. I said, Mark, I says, you got to understand, they have this big payroll every year. They get a whole lot of heap of injuries, and then when they get into the playoffs, they can't win. So I never take the Dodgers ever because so far under Dave Roberts, they haven't made it past the wild card or whatever, or the
Yeah,
divisional round.
they have that COVID one, but
Yeah,
yeah, they let their third baseman play 7 innings before they said, "Oh, you got COVID. Come on, guys, you knew he had it." That's just
right.
stupid. But
Well,
that's Major League Baseball.
do you see Dave Roberts getting fired?
No, no, because he got 2 home games. That's the thing. When you're making money for the ownership group, which is what you're doing, and
Right.
watch what's happening. As long as you're getting home games, that's money that they don't have to share. And so the Dodgers get to now. Great, they didn't get that big money that they would have got if they'd have went on, but the guy won 101 games. It's hard firing a guy who won 101 games. I know he didn't make the playoffs or make the World Series, but still won 101 games.
Okay, yeah, because I was just going to ask you that question because it's getting to the point now where people are getting a little impatient down there, So, but all right, I want to talk to you this morning about Hillcrest Farms, Richmond, Ohio, 45 minutes from Pittsburgh, right up the hill from Steubenville, Ohio. 740-346-5442, 740-632-2894. Email them hillcrestfarmsohio at gmail.com. Grain, hay, beef, some of the best beef money can buy. And I tell you, and I got to say this, they have some great beef because I have purchased some of it, and $95 for 20 pounds of ground beef, you can't beat it. And it's some of the best ground beef you'll ever have for a hamburger or a sloppy Joe or just meat sauce for spaghetti, anything you want to make. Check out their website, www.hillcrestfarmsohio.com. Leo, if you want food, something from Hillcrest Farms, get on their website. They're shipping now, so you can have it shipped to your door. So check out their website if you're interested in some great hay grain beef and steaks, and also some other beef brisket. They have all kinds of different stuff. Check out their website. That's www.hillcrestfarmsohio.com. Hillcrest Farm, Richmond, Ohio. All right, Leo, we're getting ready to close up here in a few minutes. What closing stuff do you want to talk about?
Well, Ralph, I'll tell you what. I'm 14-1 with my NFL picks, and I had the Steelers last week. Uh,
Right.
that was good, and I'm looking to keep that going. Uh, I got one more question for you, Ralph, before we go.
Go ahead.
I know the Penguins lost their opener, but the kid from Chicago, Bedard, he's the real deal, isn't he?
Yeah, he showed me something. I had Harry the Greek on last Tuesday when they had on my radio show when they were playing the Blackhawks, and he said some. Oh, it was all about Connor Bedard, and that's all they have. And I was surprised when they beat the Penguins, but Pens came back. They won last night 4-0. They beat the Washington Capitals, so I'm not going to complain. You know what I mean? It's what they're 1-1, and the excuse Mike Sullivan used was, well, we got to learn how to play together yet, and all this and that. And, you know.
Yeah, that's an excuse, but great
Yeah.
football today. Catch Washington, Oregon. That may be the best game of the day. You've got Notre Dame hosting USC. You got Miami after the stupid move last week of not taking a knee and losing the game. And
Yeah,
now you got that. They're going to North Carolina when the loser is probably out of that race completely.
I think Miami's going to lose because North Carolina's on a roll right now. That
Yeah,
quarterback,
I'll tell you what.
you know,
I'm picking the Hurricanes just because I think they're going to come out with a vengeance after last week. So yeah,
yeah, that could
that's just
happen.
me. Yeah,
Who's
and
US? Who's USF playing?
USF has Florida Atlantic at home at 3:30. So I'm getting ready to head out there, bub.
Yeah,
And I
what's
will
Florida
talk to
Atlantic
you.
looking like this year?
Well, they're scoring points like everybody else,
Hmm.
So that's the key. Score points, you win. And
Florida
I think
Atlantic and Florida International were used to have what they had Gruden and they had Butch Davis. One of them had Butch Davis. The other one had
Yeah.
Gruden.
Well,
And then they had
Tom
who?
Herman is down. He's down at Florida Atlantic now. So yeah, they got
Oh, Tom Herman. Wow.
yeah, yes, it's a good coach. So I'll tell you what, my friend, I will talk to you next Saturday.
Yeah, next Saturday we'll be here 10:30 a.m. telling it like it is. Ralph Williams, Leo Haggerty. Have a great one and be safe.